Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Joe of All Trades, bringing to you another episode of Flick Picks, and I'm covering my favorite Disney movie today. And normally, when people ask me what my favorite Disney movie is, and I answer this, it pisses them off because it's not something that is normally thought of. Normally, people want to hear Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, stuff like that. And I get it; those are great movies, but this is a part of my childhood. I think it's a fantastic film. I think it's an underrated film. I think that a great Hollywood franchise could have been cut, cut short a little too prematurely. And so, what are we doing today? Uh, the Rocketeer from 1991, directed by Joe Johnston. So, if you like this video, go ahead, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. If there's any other movies you would like me to cover on Flick Picks, please feel free to comment. I'll take a look. If you want to email me anything you'd like to see on Flick Picks, please email me, joeofalltrades.content@gmail.com. You can find us YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and Twitter. And let's get into it, okay? So this, for me, as a childhood, never owned it on digital media, but it was a regular library rental. When I was a kid, we would go to Ayers Library over in West Akron, or we would, on a special day, we would go downtown to the big library. And if we walked past this on the shelves, we normally rented it because it was just, it's such a great movie. It is, in my opinion, it's like Indiana Jones in the sense that it's an action adventure, and kind of gives you those 1930 serial feelings, but it is a little bit, it's a Disney movie, so it is a little bit more geared towards children. And there's a lot that Disney pushes towards children in this movie that doesn't really happen a whole lot. There's gangsters, Nazis, guns, all types of kind of puns or kind of tidbits that people wouldn't really understand, or a child wouldn't understand, or even adults of the 1990s may not understand. And but I love all of it. So let's keep going. So the Rocketeer was a comic book character created in 1982 by writer-artist Dave Stevens. Okay, the Rocketeer was an homage to the Saturday matinee film heroes of the 1930s, 40s, 50s. Yeah. So this character, the Rocketeer himself, is Cliff Secord. He's a test pilot. He finds a jetpack and uses it in various adventures. It's set in pre-World War II America. It's heavy. The design of it, as you can tell from the poster, is heavy Art Deco, streamlined styling. There's streamlined stylizing, that sort of stuff. It's beautiful. It can't say it any other way. And basically, what Disney wanted to do is kind of generate its own possible franchise of taking off 1930 serials, very similar to Indiana Jones. So the Disney kind of latched on to this Rocketeer character and began going through the production, pre-production for a movie. And here, this movie was eventually came out. So it was produced by Disney. It was written by Danny Bilson and Paul DeMeo. The director of this film, as I said before, is Joe Johnston. He's an incredible person within filmmaking. He's directed his own films. He's known for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Jumanji, Jurassic Park 3, Captain America, The First Avenger. He directed all of those films, but his career in special effects has just as much, or probably more, of an influence on Hollywood and movie production than even his directing. And He started his career in special effects work under George Lucas with the Industrial Light and Magic. His background was perfect for this film. A guy wearing a jetpack, and there wasn't, CGI in 1991. So he was a perfect person to pick for this. You might not know, but Joe Johnston, he designed the Millennium Falcon. He designed Boba Fett, and he won an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects on Raiders of the Lost Ark with a couple other guys. So he is a good filmmaker. Some of the movies that he's directed, are they Oscar worthy? No, but all in all, the guy knows how to make movies and be a part of the movies. So I think he does a great job in this film. The score, it was by James Horner. It's a fantastic score. And it is so, it just eclipses kind of this hope, this wonder, this kind of Americana feel that you would get in a pre-World War II America. And he's done score for other films as Avatar, Field of Dreams, Aliens, Apollo 13, Braveheart, A Beautiful Mind. So, I mean, the guy, Mr. Horner, knows what he's doing when it comes to making a score for a film. All right. It's starring Billy Campbell. He plays Cliff Secord, a.k.a. the Rocketeer. He's more so known for his television roles, but he also has parts in Bram Stoker's Dracula and Jennifer Lopez film Enough. It's kind of like, was that the Julia Roberts movie, while you were, where basically trying to escape a, angry, violent loved one, that sort of thing. But Campbell was a big investment for Disney. The goal of the Rocketeer was to make sequels, like I said, very much akin to Indiana Jones. And, he had the face for it. I don't know if he had the acting chops for it, and we'll get into that. But also Alan Arkin. Alan Arkin is prolific filmography, winner of an Oscar, a BAFTA, a Golden Globe. He's been nominated for 6 Emmys, one for Little Miss Sunshine, nominated The Russians Are Coming. He's fantastic in Argo, The In-Laws, Glengarry Glen Ross. I mean, Alan Arkin has been a stalwart in Hollywood films for, 60 years. He's incredible. He's an incredible actor. He's great in this. So yeah, and then the lady interest is Jennifer Connelly, well-known actress, absolutely gorgeous, fantastic actress in this film. Really plays it well. She's in Once Upon a Time in America, Requiem for a Dream, where she is particularly moving, A Beautiful Mind, and then she is Miss Penny Benjamin in Top Gun Maverick, which she's great in too. Also, we've got Paul Sorvino, another prolific filmography for, of important people, wise guys, better known for Goodfellas. He's in a movie, brief role, but he's in a movie Kill the Irishman. We're going to be covering that on Flick Picks pretty soon here. And then also, finally in the starring roles is Timothy Dalton, the former James Bond. This movie was made in 1991. He's coming off 2 films, 1987's Living Daylights, 1989's License to Kill, particularly darker James Bond roles. I think the transition into this film is just absolutely perfect. And I particularly like those films. They, when I was a kid, GoldenEye had come out, and that was a big thing, N64, and, really like Pierce Brosnan, but you start going backwards, and in the James Bond catalog, and the first ones are Timothy Dalton's. I particularly like them. So the budget of this film was $35 to $40 million. It made $46.7 million at the box office. So obviously it made some money back, but it was not a huge hit. It just didn't hit. I think I could probably say that it is, it's fun. It's a swashbuckling film. It's a little complicated for a Disney target audience, even if it is 8, 9, 10, 12 years old. So, you know, it was, it was it's a big step for Disney. And it was kind of, you know, I don't know if preteens really liked it at the time. I can say just when this movie came out, I was 3 years old. I probably watch it all the time. I'm 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it just, the look of it, the sound, all of it put together, I really enjoyed it. I still enjoy it to this day. I watch it, about every year or so, and just think about what could have been possibly. So the synopsis is this movie was set in 1938. Cliff Secord is a test pilot who finds a top secret jetpack, becomes a masked hero coined the Rocketeer, who uncovers a secret plot that has infiltrated Hollywood. The critical response, it's got a 67% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Roger Ebert enjoyed the film, noting its homages to these film serials of the 30s, 40s, 50s. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone magazine also gave it a positive review. He said, The Rocketeer is more than one of the best films of the summer. It's a kind of movie magic we just don't see anymore, the kind that charms us rather than bullying us into suspending disbelief. And this film definitely has a cult following, and I am a member of that cult. So some notes of the film that I personally took in regard to Joe Johnston. Like I said, he was excuse me. He's a perfect director for this film. The special effects do look a touch dated in 2025, but if you understand, like, it's made in 1991, Jurassic Park in 93 really took over as far as being the primary basis for, CGI, and, from that point on, that wasn't really around 1991. So in my opinion, though, the special effects still look good when he's flying through the clouds, coming up from a distance, all of that. I think it looks good. So, and it looks pretty realistic. So, credit to Joe Johnston and his filmmaking for that. The score, like I said, it's a fantastic score. It's fun. It's inspiring. It matches the story. It's a story about a hero just trying to do the right thing, save his girl, all amongst a backdrop of wonder of, being to fly, just a man in the clouds. So the score really matches the movie. I enjoy it a lot. The set and the production design, there's like, I might be cliche, or if someone doesn't like appreciate other architectural designs, that sort of thing. But I love Art Deco, the streamlined style in the 1930s. As you can see the poster, obviously his helmet, it's just, I just find it really beautiful. And it's just fun. The set, the production, the costumes, also, it's amazing. The movie really transports you to 1930s Hollywood. It doesn't look cheesy. It doesn't look cheap. The guys have their, perfectly tailored, piping suits, why can't I think of it? I wear a suit every day. But pinstripe suits. And then, the ladies, the dresses, the satin, the colors, all of that, the hairdos, it all looks great. Even the smallest of details in this film, like there's a particular scene where they're in like a dry goods closet, and you can look, and like the canned tomatoes on the wall look like, they're from the 1930s. Like I said, the costumes are impeccable. The Rocketeer's outfit is just cool as shit. He's got this like, red brownish leather jacket. It buttons up, it buttons across, and then somehow like the jetpack like goes underneath this flap. Obviously the helmet's cool as shit. He's got these like khaki pants with the big pouches on the side and the riding boots. It just looks really cool. All the gangster garb looks great. Jennifer Connelly could wear a garbage bag and be absolutely breathtaking, but obviously everything she's wearing is marron. So eh, Billy Campbell, the star of the film, he had a big role to play here. They're trying to make the next Indiana Jones. He gets the lead in what Disney intends to make a franchise film. It's like Indiana Jones. I don't think he's necessarily terrible, but it's just I think his acting chops just are more for daytime, more you know daytime TV, and it just doesn't hit. There's just something about it. I don't think it's personally his fault. This is a Disney movie, so he has to play it very baby faced, very Superman. I know from right and wrong, and I can determine it right from the get. He just lacks an edge that's present with other swashbucklers like Han Solo or Indiana Jones or that sort of thing. So it takes away from kind of the complexity of the role. I think if he played a little bit more complex, probably would have been appreciated a little bit more. The decisions that he has to make in the movie, like I said, it's a Disney movie. It's very clearly right or wrong. There's an opportunity for him to ponder gray areas. And most of the time, audiences, especially adult audiences, don't like that. They like some grit or some morally gray areas that someone has to navigate. And coming up on the right side of navigating those gray areas helps us like somebody. It's easier, because those are things that we have to do in real life, right? So if someone on the screen has to figure out what's right and wrong and just not automatically know it and act appropriately, that's more endearing. And we don't really get that a lot in this movie. Yeah, Campbell he kind of comes off more of a dopey goody, but he looks great in the part. Don't get me wrong. This is taking nothing away from Jennifer Connelly, who's always stunning. But Billy Campbell might be as equally good looking as Cliff Secord in this movie as Jennifer Connelly in her role. Guy's a handsome man. Hair's perfect. He fits the role perfectly. If this movie was made, I don't know, 91, if it was made 8, 9, 10 years later, I think Josh Hartnett would be perfect for this role. So there's that. Alan Arkin, I mean, he was made for the role. He's kind of the older kind of father figure, kind of words of wisdom kind of guy, the sage, what have you. He was made for this role, and it's very similar kind of what you see in Argo, which won a Best Picture. He wasn't nominated. It was a crime, but whatever. And said Connelly, she's fantastic in this film. This is from a period where, in 1991, Connelly was returning to acting from a period of sticking in modeling. She was in Once Upon a Time in America. She was very young in that role. And then she took some time off of acting to pursue modeling. And she was kind of coming back into the groove of acting in this film. But she's fantastic in the role. She's not just a damsel in distress. She's smart. She's cunning. There are scenes where she is, like I said, she's not a damsel in distress. She's coming up with things on her own, acting, and it's fun to watch. Paul Sorvino, he's great in this movie. He delivers a performance. It's a little more outlandish than like Paul Cicero in Goodfellas, but he's great as this big, imposing, like very well-dressed gangster. There's a scene in the film where he delivers a line about being an American, and it really gives you the feels in this particular moment. It's a great moment. It helps usher in a great moment of what I think is American iconography in this film. He says a particular line. There's a part where the Rocketeer goes up and he's in the midst of the fight with the bad guys, and he steps in front of a swaying American flag, and then he shoots up into the sky. And then after Paul Sorvino delivers this line about being an American, he says, "Go get him, kid." And it's just like, it really gives you all the feels, and it's a great moment. I think it looks fantastic, and Paul Sorvino is definitely a part of that cinematography. Him being there, you just got to see it. Like I said, Timothy Dalton was coming off playing James Bond in 2 installments of the franchise. Dalton's portrayal in these films, Living Daylights and License to Kill, they made their money back, so I may not have them on Flick Picks based on the amount of money that they made, but I think that they're fantastic films. They're a little cheesy, but but I appreciate the darker role that he took in those films. He wanted to play James Bond more akin to the book than Roger Moore, kind of the goofy, more comedic, less aggressive James Bond. So I really appreciate Dalton's roles in those films, and him being that kind of dark, strong, active James Bond, and then he wasn't anymore, and kind of transitions into this role. I think it's a great transition. His portrayals, it's dark, it's brooding. He's dark, he's brooding, he's conniving, he's cunning in this film. It's, he's a fantastic actor. I mean, he's, Shakespearean trained, all of that. So, I think he's much akin to Alan Rickman in any movie that Alan Rickman's been in. Die Hard, Harry Potter. It's just kind of like, this dude is way overqualified for the role that he's playing. The role he plays, Timothy Dalton, was inspired by Errol Flynn, who at the time was thought to be a Nazi sympathizer, but that was later debunked. So kind of a fun little Hollywood kind of conspiracy theory. So some other fun facts. Kevin Costner and Matthew Modine, who was from Full Metal Jacket, were the first actors considered for the role. I love Kevin Costner, but I think he might have been a little too old for this role at the time, and all the other stuff that he'd been involved with. Matthew Modine, I personally wouldn't have liked for this role. When they became unavailable, Dennis Quaid, Kurt Russell, Bill Paxton, and Emilio Estevez auditioned. Dennis Quaid would be great. Kurt Russell would be great, but I think he was a little bit older, a little bit too experienced. I think this movie needed a little bit fresher face. I think they were trying to get that with Billy Campbell. It didn't hit, but I think Kurt Russell might have been too well known at the time. Bill Paxton would have been fantastic. He's an incredible actor. I always love to say that the coolest movie stat is that there's only one person that's been killed by a Terminator, a Predator, and an alien, and it's Bill Paxton. And I'm not saying to discredit Bill Paxton. God rest his soul. He's fantastic in Twisters. I just don't know if he had the looks for the part. It's come from me. It's a pot calling the kettle black. He's a lot better looking than I am. But I think that they were probably looking for something else. Emilio Estevez, I probably wouldn't have liked him in the role. Personally, I think he's just, to be honest, I think he's too short. I think this needed kind of a bigger, more broad-shouldered type guy. Billy Campbell fits that role. Johnny Depp was Disney's favorite choice, but I just think after 21 Jump Street and kind of doing the darker, more concentrated things that Johnny Depp has done throughout his career, I don't think he would have been a good fit. Vincent D'Onofrio declined the role. D'Onofrio definitely has the acting chops. He's a fantastic actor. He definitely has the size. He's a big enough guy. I just don't know if he would have fit well in kind of being a goody goody. I don't think he's ever played one. He probably wouldn't have done well. During the filming, Campbell and Connolly, they eventually became romantic. And Johnston kind of took advantage of it for method acting techniques. For Alan Arkin's role, Lloyd Bridges was thought of, but he eventually declined. He's a little too old. I don't know. Alan Arkin's a better actor, anyways. Jeremy Irons and Charles Dance were considered for Dalton's role, but declined. Jeremy Irons would be fantastic in Timothy Dalton's role in this film. I love Jeremy Irons so much. I love him in The Watchmen. I love him in Die Hard with a Vengeance. Of course, he's in other, more sophisticated things, but he would be great in this role. But it doesn't take away from Dalton. I like Dalton. Charles Dance. Charles Dance probably would have been pretty good. I think he's not flamboyant enough for the role, but he would later play an outlandish bad guy, a couple years later in Last Action Hero. Another flop, but I think Charles Dance would be better in the Last Action Hero role than Timothy Dalton's role as Neville Sinclair in this film. Pretty cool. Terry O'Quinn, he has a cameo as Howard Hughes, and Howard Hughes plays a part in this film. He's the designer of the jetpack, and there's some other things, homages to him that a lot of people may not understand. There's a particular scene where the Rocketeer is escaping Howard Hughes's just office or whatever, and he jumps on this big plane, and it's like a big model plane, but it's a really big plane, and he jumps on it and kind of coasts out of this airplane hangar, and Terry O'Quinn says, "Son of a bitch will fly," and it's a model of the Spruce Goose, and like the fact that I don't know how many people actually knew what that was at the time it was made, or if they watch it will recognize it now. If you've seen The Aviator, maybe you know what the Spruce Goose is, but it's not a well-known thing. So putting that in basically a kid's Disney movie, it's kind of like a dirty joke in a Shrek movie. It's like, who's really going to pick up on it? Anyways, I absolutely love this film. I think you should check it out, especially if you love Indiana Jones movies. Go ahead, check out The Rocketeer once you move through the original trilogy and the remaining schlock. It's nostalgic for me in terms of my childhood, but I also think it's a great film. I revisit it quite frequently. It is streaming on Disney, so take a look. Let me know what you think. Comment below, and then please follow me, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. My dog's barking in the background, so I'm going to go ahead and go. Enjoy watching. Thanks. Bye.